It's funny. Like voicemails are probably the most underutilized channel there is in sales. I think nobody likes leaving them because they don't
Yes.
feel like they're creating value.
Yeah, I've been doing this for the past 2 months, and I've been seeing a lot of success from it, just from people putting a
Right.
name to an email. They've been opening it more. So if I'm like reading out the full script, and obviously it's not like the full script, I'll go to the main 3 points that we're trying to like give them the value on, and they love that. And they will start
Mhm.
opening up the emails since we use outreach.io.
Can you walk me through a play there? For example, like what would that look like? You would send an email, you would do a cold call, nobody would pick up, and you get a voicemail, and I guess you would just leave them a voicemail saying like a couple of bullets
Yes.
that are kind of the main value props, right? And then just point them back to the email, or
Yes, exactly. So I'm saying, essentially it would be something like, hey, this is Adam calling from Sends. The reason for the call, I actually want to talk to you about the email that I sent you. Obviously, you didn't pick up, but I'm going to leave you just what we could help you with today. This is what we've been seeing with our customers, X, Y, and Z. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to go search for the email. It could be in your spam folder if you did not get it. If you have any questions, this is my personal cell phone number. Feel free to call me back. And that's kind of like how I always transition it. And it's been super effective.
so do you have any stats? Like, do you get meetings out of those
Yeah,
efforts?
so I will say from leaving those voicemails in the past 2 months, because I've been really picking up more leaving like good, genuine voicemails.
Right.
I've seen an open rate of roughly 60%, as well as a follow-up email at 20 to 25%. And now the follow-up rate's not that high, but in cold calling sales, it's higher than getting someone to answer the phone in general, or just sending a typical email, right? Or leave a typical voicemail where it's like, hey, this is Adam at Sense, give me a call back. There's no value, there's nothing in it. Where I was saying 0%, like people aren't going to call you back just by leaving that. And that's what made me want to change. I'm like, how can I improve on this kind of aspect of the cold calling / also linking up to the email that provides enough value for them to call me back.
Landing a great job opportunity is sometimes very challenging. Breaking into tech and getting hired as a sales rep can be even harder. When I was applying to my first sales jobs, I also struggled with the unknown. What to expect, what the tech industry was like, and how do I break in? After years of being an SDR myself, I've decided to build something I wish I had in the beginning. My name is Stefan, and in the SDR Hire podcast, I interview successful SDRs and salespeople who share their stories straight from the trenches. Learn how they got their first job offers, how they succeed every day in their roles, and what makes them stand out in their organizations. We all have what it takes. We just need someone to remind us of the opportunity and give us a better chance for success. Let's get your next SDR gig.
Hey, welcome back to the SDR Hire podcast. I'm your host, Stefan, and this is a place where you can learn from top producing sales development representatives what it's like working in tech sales, how do you break in, what do companies look for, and how to succeed as an SDR, all for free. Today, I'm talking with Adam Dinaully. Adam is a US Navy veteran turned sales professional. After the Army, he's held a number of sales roles from door-to-door sales through account management and straight-up sales in industries like transportation, golf equipment and events, financial advisory, only to finally land in tech sales with a company called Sense. An interesting fact here is that Adam had a hard time landing a tech sales job for quite a bit due to his lack of SaaS experience, as they used to say. I can't wait to hear more about his journey breaking into tech. So, Adam, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me here. I'm excited to talk and kind of help everyone else out that's trying to get in the tech space. I know for me, it was, I wouldn't say a challenge. It was definitely different. More so like you have to learn how to like write your resume and whatnot. So I'm sure you have all the questions for me, Stefan, and looking forward to talking with you.
For sure, man. Feel free to just jump in with any ideas, questions, comments. Okay, so let's just dive in. Like, you started your career actually as a military professional. Like, can you walk us through how that looked like in the beginning, and what was the transition towards sales?
Yeah. So military, the one thing that they teach you, it's structure, it's
Mhm.
following directions, and it's having an organized schedule every single day. And obviously, you don't really have that all the time in the military, but you kind of get to a scheduled life in a way. Every single time you wake up, you have things to do, what you can do in the morning, and it's just like very structured. And that definitely helped in so many different aspects in the military and outside the military. To this day, I still wake up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym. And that's one thing I love doing. It's like waking up early, starting my day early, feeling good. And that is like the best thing I've pulled from the military, besides all like the maturity, the focus on like what my goal is and how driven I am to be successful in certain aspects in my own personal life with my own goals. And the military, it's not easy no matter what branch you go into. Some people might have easier jobs than others, but at the end of the day, you still got tasked to do certain things that most people in the world won't ever have to deal with. And I was blessed to start in doing it at a very young age. I went in at 17, got out by the age of 21. And ever since then, it's just been trying to figure out what that suits me for my lifestyle. And I know we'll get into it. I was doing actually door-to-door sales for public storage, which was very interesting. That to me was probably the hardest version of sales, and being that young, I didn't really understand what was going on. And from there, I actually jumped into trucking, which was operations management on one side, and also doing account management on the other, which was trying to find deals, holding people's hands the whole way, but then also making sure my truck drivers and everything was very organized and safe. And when transporting, so let me just jump back a little bit. What we were doing on the truck space, we were moving chemicals across America.
Right.
One of the hardest ones, the safest ones. It's just like everything that goes into it was the strictest rules, right? DOT was on our butt all the time. And it was interesting to learn that side of the business in the operations manner, and then also going back and learning how to sell someone, not on how good of a truck company we are, but how much they could trust me in general for us to make a delivery or to pick up a product, right? So that was very fun to learn. It was sales based by connection. So, and what I mean by that is like you actually really have to connect human to human so they can know who you truly are and trust you, which I personally love. I love that kind of sale. It's super fun. You get to talk to people the most. You get to learn more about them. And then from there, I got into account executive role at a car transport company, which was based on moving cars across America, which is super hard. And probably one of the most scammy businesses I've ever been into, because everyone is trying to broker deals and scam you out of money, and you hear it all the time. And so when I was learning how to sell in that space, the best way you could sell into that space was feelings. How do you get someone to feel about you, right? So it's not based on connection anymore. It's based about like, can I actually trust you with my feeling, with my gut? And the way I did that was I always provided my personal cell phone number. So if they had an issue with their car or anything, they could call me. So then they made sure that they had a contact at all times. They knew I was real, I wasn't fake, and I wasn't going to just steal their car and sell it for scrap or whatever. Like in the industry, that's usually what happens, right?
Well, was it stressful? I mean, you were really like
it was long days. It was 10-hour days for sales, which is hard. But at the same time, you had to always make sure that everything was going to the book. And that's where the military training comes into play as well. Like everything had to be structured properly. If it didn't, something fell, something happened, and then you got in trouble, and stuff happens. So that one was very interesting. And then I got into obviously golf. Golfing was one of like my biggest passions, if not one of my biggest hobbies to this day. I love playing golf, love being around golf. So I was like, let me go try my hand at golf sales and events. And it was like 5 different beasts in one, because I had to make sure that the staff was good, then the sales was good, and then everything that goes into the industry was very interesting. Meeting reps, meeting clothing reps, and then you got to meet the members, make sure the members are okay, the players, to make sure the kids academy was doing okay, to setting up golf tournaments. So it was like a lot. It was like 5 in 1 job.
and in addition, as if I understand correctly, you were actually even managing people along the way, like in both in the previous role and this one as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, everywhere I've been, I've always been managing people. It's kind of one of like the small traits I picked up from the military. I know how to like understand people for who they are in different aspects, right? Because every human is different. You understand things differently. And that's something, if you're a good manager, you can pick up on how people learn and train and get better, or they get worse. And when they get worse, you got to ask them a question like, what's going on? Or some people like it a different manner, right? And I manage people. That's probably one of my best assets is how do I talk and handle people in general. I know that everyone's different. I love to hear people's story and their side of situations to see how they will handle it. That's like the best way you can learn about anybody is like how they will handle a certain situation when they are actually put into it. And me being a military man in stressful situations, I always did it very methodically, and people don't think like I do. When it's high stress, I calm down. For people, when it's high stress, they are like, what do we do? What do we do? What, so I'm very different. So I, of course, manage people. I love managing people. I did that at the golf one, and that one was very, very interesting. I left that to go and get into finance, and I was essentially doing business development for financial advisors. It was very interesting. It was different. It was probably the hardest sell I ever had to do, just because you are selling a product that's super easy to get online now. And people don't trust financial advisors as much as they used to. And the more I worked there, and I was only in there for like 6 months, right? So it wasn't that long. But I did pick up on certain things where the people that have the most amount of money want the least amount of issues with their money. So they always give it to someone to manage it. Right. Now, the people that have a good little, piggy bank, let's say, that aren't super wealthy, they always want to have something to do with their money, which was very interesting to me. Especially to see where people that have like, piggy banks of over $20 million, they don't even ask you questions about what the financial advisors were doing. But people that had like $1 million in their portfolio, they were just always asking about like, what's wrong with my money? What is this? So it was just like super weird. It was like such a different, interesting take on life to know that like when these people are super wealthy, they just they trust you. They trust you enough to like let you do your job. They're paying you to do a job, so they let you do the job, right? And it was very, very different. Finding clients was always hard because they always ask you like, what makes you guys better than Wells Fargo or Bank of America or TD Ameritrade? There's so many
What would
different
you say?
I always said you get the family-friendly business, right? We're a family-owned business. At the end of the day, we are here to make you guys better, but you can also be connected to us personally. We're not just another number on the chart. And most people would always come over when I said that because they're like, wow, I could actually talk to you every single day. I love that. Let me do it. Which was great. And it just wasn't meant for me. I didn't like how slow paced it was. I will say that. It just wasn't enough for me to keep like my mind happy. For me, it's like my mind has to be doing stuff at all time, like during the day. If I'm working, right? There's not like I'm gonna half-ass it. It was like through and through, I'm gonna work my butt off. And over there, there was never enough for me to do. So that's where we got into tech sales. I started applying. It was the beginning of this year, looking for a new job in January, February. And I actually reached out to Stefan over here to help me out a little bit. I was going to use his program. His program obviously is super awesome. For someone that didn't anything like know about tech, I was like going to jump feet first with you. Luckily, I figured out, and this is where like luckily, unluckily worked, right? Because I didn't do your help. Like your help was awesome. But I figured out that my resume wasn't worded properly for tech sales when I was sending it out initially. So I got frustrated. And that's the first thing I personally want to say is don't get frustrated. The one thing I know is find ways to make your resume applicable to every job you apply for. So if you have to speak some words, change some words. Certain companies aren't going to hire you because you're not good enough. Other companies will love to hire you because you are more than good enough. All right. So if that's like the one thing about hiring jobs and processes is like, always remember companies will need you for who you are. Just wait till the right company comes along. But once I started doing that, I started getting quite a bit of job offers. Obviously my sales history is pretty deep and, operations history in general is also very deep. But I will say the transition into tech sales has been one of the most fun and the most growth-minded things I've ever had to do because it's so different.
Well,
so
I was. You literally started answering a bunch of questions that I already had lined up. Basically, what really caught my attention the last time that we spoke was I remembered you telling me that a lot of companies were just turning you down because you lacked SaaS experience. And for our listeners, SaaS, software as a service, um, and it's not an isolated case. I've heard a bunch of people say the same thing, right? So, even though you have a very deep, like you said, a very deep sales background, it was so strange to me. Like, why would somebody pass you on if you already had, like, you already had cold calling experience, inbound experience, you got like emailing, like you were the whole package. I was like, what? Is
Yeah.
this even possible? But obviously, sooner rather than later, somebody recognized the same thing, and you got offers, which was awesome. And don't worry about it. I love our initial communication in any case. But what was the experience like landing that offer at Sense or whatever that whole period? Like,
Yeah.
what did your like interview process look like?
Hey there. I wanted to let you in on a couple of additional resources available other than the podcast and the social media content. So I recently started a newsletter where I break down the best pieces of advice from the podcast about getting hired, how to be a top performing sales rep, into actionable nuggets that you can apply literally as soon as you read them. And in addition, if you're currently looking for an SDR role, you can fill out a form to let me know, and I'll do my best to help put you in front of tech companies hiring for SDRs. All right, back to the show.
So I interviewed with, I'm just gonna like give you like the full breakdown of it. I probably put my resume in for 60 companies, interviewed with roughly 15 of them. And my team I like a lot, but like when you're trying to change career paths into something that's gonna like be better for you in the long run, it's worth taking that time out. The one mistake I was making was I wasn't changing my resume per job description, and that really helps. Okay, so that to me is like find out what the job description is and kind of like pick and pull out like the main keywords and put in your resume somehow.
Nice.
And I'm not saying lie about it, but just change up the phrases in your resume so it matches.
Totally.
That helped out a lot. So when I started doing that, I started getting more interviews. I had, and all of them were very, very similar. Okay, I'm gonna say that the first one was always 15 minutes, 15-minute phone call with like a recruiter. And then the second one is always the initial phone call with your direct boss. And then the third, the third and fourth steps are always different. Okay, so the third step is usually you meet with the VP of sales of the company, so they could just see how you're feeling and where your head's at. And usually the fourth one is a cold calling script practice. And I did that with 15 companies, and I got 6 out of 15 offers by the time I was done. After I did my resume over for every job description. So I got roughly, it was 40% job offers, which was great. But it just, when people see the value, and I think for me, interviews aren't hard because I project my true self. Like what you see is what you get with me. I don't beat around the bush. I'm very straightforward and blunt. I was blessed and thankful to get that many job offers. It was very hard for me to pick and choose. The difference for me was my current boss has that tenacity to make sure that you feel like you matter. And he wanted you to become better. And I'm not saying all bosses don't want that, but he was one that stood out for me during the interview process for me to choose Sense over every other company, where he was like, yeah, I want to make you better. I want to get you to becoming an AE at some point. Tell me what your goals are. Let's get you there. For me, that's what I wanted. I wanted someone that could kind of like be there for me during my first few months in tech, and then also teach me, but then also let me just learn and make mistakes on my own and grow. That's how I learned personally, is just doing by making mistakes and doing by being successful, right? That's the best way to learn. So that's why I picked Sense, and I'm blessed to be here. So for the interview processes, they're all different, but I know for me, it was always like 4 steps, never too much. Some of them, they want you to do like a deep prospecting on clients, on a fake client, I should say, and get you like some good prospecting information. And that one was fun because currently now it just helps with like the role. So then like their feedback was like, this is what we actually look at this company instead of the way you did it. I was like, okay, that's a good learning thing. I didn't get the job offer, but it was good for me to learn that aspect, that they wanted more in-depth personalization on the prospecting compared to just like a basic prospecting where you go get like the basic information on LinkedIn and send it. But yeah, that was the interview process. It wasn't nothing too hard. I mean, if I would say people get too nervous on interviews, just be yourself. If you're yourself, you'll be natural. That's like my best advice, is be yourself at all times.
Yeah. Yeah, I always ask this question, and a lot of people answer, for example, be yourself, don't try to act in any way, just, you be you and you'll be fine.
Yes.
Now there's a whole another pool of people who are like, it's not about being themselves, it's just that they might be anxious by nature, right? And
Absolutely.
so the game is totally different for them. Like the rules are totally different. It's not about, being them. They are themselves. It's just, they're being anxious. And so they cope with it in other ways. They prepare more, I guess. They get anxious on interviews, but then they, rehearse, but whatever. So it's just an interesting point. So can you tell us more about Sense in general? So what is the product of the company, and who's the target market? So what's the ICP?
Yeah, so our product is, it's funny because we actually have like 6 products in one. We're a recruitment platform. Okay, so we help companies essentially make the recruiting teams more efficient, save them money, help re-engage past candidates that apply for roles. And we just try to make them more efficient in general while cutting costs. And, because so many companies now, they spend so much money on job boards, on LinkedIn, on all these extra things where they don't need to. They usually have a good database that they're not utilizing in order to find the right candidates for the job. And that's where we come in. We're a platform that helps them re-engage with past candidates for certain roles, but then we also help them find new processes to creating automation essentially in a product where the recruiters don't have to go through the daily tasks of like clicking through all these steps for a certain candidate. We automate all those steps. So that's how we make the recruiters more efficient, and then we save them money at the end of the day. And it's great. We target, for the longest time, our company was known in the staffing world. We really help staffing companies. But for me and my side of the business, we're on the corporate team, and we're trying to break into the corporate aspect of the business, trying to help out the bigger organizations, find top-tier talent easier, save the money in the long run, and just be a good assisted platform for the recruiters or the TA teams.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. That's a target audience I'm kind of familiar with, and it's actually funny because I've done this with some outbound sales clients of mine as well. It's been tough for me to break into these personas of like HR people. I feel like my background is in basically reaching out to salespeople, and I thought they were very hard to break before, but then like I kind of found how to talk with sales leaders, and that's fine. And then when I went to HR and like recruiters, I was expecting it to be easier, that they would be more open to it. But on the contrary, they're extremely hard to crack. They don't react to personalization as much. I was like, whoa, is this for real? And so they are a tough nut to crack, to be honest.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. It's just a different world. I mean, in the corporate space in general, it's just harder to break into. And I love a good challenge, and I've been loving it. It's just like you got to learn how to get in the door. And that's where, at the beginning of the phone call, we talked about obviously the voicemails. The voicemails help a lot. You leave a good value propped voicemail, they want to contact you. Or at least listen to you. They'll be more open and more inclined to listen to you. Some other ways that we've been doing in like prospecting into companies is LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's certain steps that I've been following is like kind of like a post, connect with them, then engage with them on a post a couple times or multiple posts, and then send them a message. And most of the time you'll break down that wall where they allow you to actually contact them properly. So there's different ways. You just got to find what ways works for like you, or if you're trying to break in the same corporate space that I am, it's such a young company. It is different. You got to make sure people know who you are first and foremost. So I always put so many people into, emails and just let them know who we are. Just kind of send out a blast email per se, but that's just how they learn who you are, right? The more people that get eyes on a product, the more people would want to listen to you. So it's definitely been a challenge, but it's been fun. I will say I love a good challenge. So I always see a challenge as like for me, it's a problem solving challenge, and I love a good problem to solve.
Gotcha. And that's a very healthy mindset to have. What is like, what do you lean on the most when it comes to sales channels? Is it the phone? Is it the emails? It sounds like it's the phone.
It's definitely the phone. Now that I'm going to say the phone is easiest thing for me to do. Okay.
Mhm.
You could cold call someone. I could talk to people. It's very easy for me to talk to people. The hardest thing for me to do was understanding emailing, how to break into their mindset, right? Like, how do they open up an email, right? So I go out of my way to research that stuff. Like, what's a good catchy subject line for the day? And I'll send the same 100 emails a day. But if a catchy subject line will open up more emails, I'm going to keep using it, right? Or if it's like, what's a good value prompt email, just in general, what's the subject about? Will they find even enough value for us to have a conversation? Most of the times in the beginning, it wasn't. So you got to keep adding a little more value, and that's just learning process, right? But phone calls, if they answer, is the easiest way, 100%. You could always battle an objection. No matter what it is, you could battle it. And I know the hardest thing for BDRs and SDRs is battling an objection. So if people want some assistance on that, I highly recommend you guys Google objections you'll find in your field and just go pitch it to someone on your team and just say like, can you battle me with these objections so I can see how I respond to it? Easiest way to do it.
Awesome. Very cool. There's one thing when it comes to new reps and doing cold calls. Some folks, like we mentioned earlier, they have anxiety towards the phone, picking it up and just calling up people, and others just do it naturally. It sounds like you're more of that natural type of person, who's let's just talk. Like, how do you handle those moments of rejection? And, what does it make you feel? Like, do you even, like, does it even scratch the surface? Like,
no, I mean, you have to have a thick skin in this game, first and foremost, right? You got to be able to, and I'm not saying that people don't have thick skins, but like, you got to be able to, some people are just going to be rude. Somebody's going through a bad day, they're going to be rude, and you're the person they're going to take it out on. And I've had it happen to me, and it's okay. I don't ever let it get into my mind that this one phone call is going to ruin my whole day. You can't let one bad person affect your whole day. That's always my mentality to it. You control your outcome of every phone call. If you had a bad phone call and they hung up on you, so be it, right? Mm-hmm. You just have to know that the next person on the phone call could be the nicest person on the phone call. They could want to have a meeting with you. So I always look for the silver lining. Yes, cold calling could suck. Yes, it could be bad. Yes, the one person could ruin your whole day. But on the flip side, the way I always look at it is the next person, they could be the nicest person. They could be willing to listen to you. They could be setting up a meeting for you. They could be down to do a demo for your AE. And that's just how I always look at it. It's like, all right, this person just didn't see value in our product. Let's move on. Mm-hmm. All right. So,
yeah. So what would you say is the one thing that is making you successful?
Hey everyone, I started SDR Hire in the first place to help as many of you as I can to land your next job, become better at sales, and just help you propel your career. So if you're finding value in this content and you know somebody who will benefit from it, please share it with them, tag them in a post, send them via text, share it wherever you share stuff with your community. And as always, all of this is completely free and is here to help everyone succeed. So your recommendation goes a long way. I appreciate you, and let's get back to the show.
Oh man, that's a good question. I just want to, man, for me, it's just wanting to be the best for myself. Okay. Has nothing to do with anyone. For me, I don't think any quota from my boss will ever match what I want in my own personal accountability folder. And for me, that's just how I get done through the day. I want to make sure I'm hitting everything 10 times better than anyone else on my team. I want to be number one all through the charts. I always want to be the top dog. I want people to come and talk trash behind my back because they're like, why does he do so much? Why is he doing so? If people aren't talking trash behind your back, you aren't doing something right, first and foremost, right? Secondly, I just want to be the best. That is it. I just want to make sure that I'm outworking everyone, but also learning the products, but also learning how I can continue to grow. It's just keeping a growth mindset, but being hungry to do more and do better.
Gotcha. Well, that's a comprehensive answer. I love it. um, okay, cool. But like, so obviously there are some things that you love about being an SDR, but what are the things that you hate about the role and the world of SDR?
I just think some days it feels like everything comes together into one big pile.
Mm.
And I say that like, if you're doing the same thing every single day, it could just feel like you're doing everything super boring every single day. And that's where it just comes into being different and doing something different. So it throws off your schedule. So I try to make sure that my days are always different, but very similar. So in the mornings, I'll make phone calls on Monday mornings. Tuesday, I'll go in the afternoon. Wednesdays, I'll go back in the morning. So it's never the same block time I'm calling people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll also switch up, like if I'm prospecting, I'll get heavy on LinkedIn one day, and the next day I'll get heavy on emails, and then I'll go back to going back on LinkedIn, just always doing something different every single day, so it doesn't feel like it's the same. For me, some days in the very beginning, it felt like the same. I was always making the same phone calls every single time of the day. So that's like the thing that I hated. I don't like feeling like I'm doing the same thing every single day, because it becomes a drag, and you got to make sure it does not feel like a drag. So just make sure you change up the schedules to balance it out. Find different ways to contact different prospects, right? That's always fun to do, because there's so many different ways to contact them now. So just changing up the days definitely was the hardest thing for me to get used to. Definitely hated doing the same thing every single morning, waking up phone calls. It's just not fun, right? You don't wake up and you're like, I'm so motivated to do this. You have to do it, but you want to be motivated to do it, right? So
yeah.
I'll probably.
So what is that one thing that is really motivating you? I mean, many of them. What is motivating you to be as successful as you are as an SDR?
I really want to become an AE again. I love closing the deals, and I know in tech, especially in the SaaS space of tech, you got to perform as a BDR in order to get that promotion. If you're not performing, you're not getting promoted.
Okay, so your main motivation is basically you just want to be the top dog. You just want to move and like climb the ladders and just win. And that's I've seen and talked to a lot of sales reps.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the common denominator for every successful one. So I guess you're on the right track.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, I know. It's funny because like that's like kind of like how sales is like measured. I mean, if you want me to get out of sales, I'll tell you that I just want a good life in general. I want to be not like so focused on money. I want to be able to like just have have like a good life, right? Just be able to travel, to take my fiance out and take her out to dinner and do all these kinds of things. So just having a good life really motivates me outside of like the sales
By the way,
aspect.
do you have an interesting example of how you booked a call, like a creative way you booked a demo or a sales meeting?
Man, creative way. I did have this guy that was like super not interested when I first talked to him. And then I kept sending him emails, but I always made sure that like they were directed only to him specifically. So like I'll be like looking at, obviously it goes into like researching a company, finding out what he needed and what his challenges were, and talking to like some recruiters of his company, finding out like what their pains were. And I would personally send emails to him saying, this is what I talked to your company about. This is what they're seeing. Are you sure you don't want to have a conversation? He's like, no, I still don't see it. I'm like, okay, not a problem. I completely understand. And then I'll send him back another email saying, are you sure? Because this recruiter X, Y, and Z told me that they're experiencing all these issues with their ATS and it's not going so well. Are you sure you don't have a conversation? I'm just trying to make sure that you make the right decision for your company. And it was obviously being persistent really helps. You got to be able to, like, when someone says no, you don't give up. You just say, okay, right now it's not a good time. Okay. So I would always found a creative way to make sure I tailored that email to him. And then I would dig deeper into his company every time he said no. So every time they did something new on LinkedIn, right, I would say, hey, this looks very interesting. I love that you guys are doing this. Would love to be able to help out your company even more by X, Y, and Z. And then send it back to them, right?
Very
So
cool.
when I did that, like I sent him 4 personalized emails only to him before I booked a meeting. And he was like super happy once he did. Obviously, he was like, I don't know why I said so no to you in the beginning. Maybe it was a budget. Maybe I just didn't want to hear it. But he was like, I'm glad that you kept being persistent and kept wanting to talk to me.
That's a cool story. Um, Awesome. It's funny how, I don't know, I guess people have this guard against sales folks, right? But, it's our job to just help them understand that they need
Absolutely.
help, right?
Absolutely.
Um, okay, so what would be your message to anyone trying to break in and become an SDR?
Ooh, the message, make sure you have a good background, but also make sure that you know exactly what product you are trying to sell. So if you're applying for a company and they do have an interview process, make sure you go do a deep dive on that platform, product, website, whatever you're trying to sell for them, to know that they know that you're serious. Especially if you have, like, for me, I didn't have any tech experience, right?
Mhm.
So you got to do something different that makes you stand out. One, I'm very authentic. I'm real. I'm honest. I don't hide anything. They love that about me, right? Number 2, I always knew if I'm interviewing with Stefan for his company, I always did a deep dive on his website about like what I could learn about him, the company, and just in general, so they know I'm serious. It goes a long way. Most people don't even take the time to do that. Just do research, make sure that they know that you're serious. And when it gets in the interview, always make them visualize you at the company, right? So ask questions like, so if I'm here for a year, where do you expect me to be? Where do you see me to be, right? So then they're visualizing you there in that job for over a year. It's a little mind trick for them to say like, wow, we should actually maybe pass them on to the next interview. So those are just like the couple tips I would give. And just be motivated. Honestly, don't let one no from a company say, that's it, I give up. Apply. The more you apply, the higher chances of you getting hired or
That's
getting
a
a
good
job
one.
offer.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Amazing. What would you say to your future self in like 5 years? Like, what would be a message to send to your future self?
Ooh, to my future self, just
Hmm.
keep being hungry. You have these goals that you want to achieve, make sure you hit them. Don't ever stop from your goals.
Awesome.
uh if you stop, I don't think you will be where you want to be.
Pretty cool. So what would you tell to our next guest without even knowing who's going to be on the show? Like, what would be your message to them?
My message would be, ooh, that's a good one. I guess my message to him would be just keep him or her, keep being motivated, keep being hungry, keep being the killer BDR SDR that you are. Make sure that you stay number 1 on the team, and just fight for that right to get promoted. I know for all of us in sales, that's what we want. We want to get promoted. Just stay hungry. That's like the best way I could say it. Just stay hungry.
Nice. I love that. Okay. Um, we're gonna go into the rapid questions and
Okay.
then we can wrap it up. So you ready?
Yep.
Hey there, hope you're enjoying these episodes as much as I do making them. If you prefer consuming a shorter format content, I post the best snippets from the podcast on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, so feel free to choose your favorite platform and I'll see you there. On the other hand, if you just love binging longer formats, the podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, and I also often post interesting sales and hiring stuff on LinkedIn. All right, back to the show.
Okay. So what is the best SDR learning resource for you?
LinkedIn. There's so many good people on there. I know Stefan's on there. I learned a lot from when he started posting. That's like a given. But there's so many people on there that give good tips about sales in general. Go
Nice.
find them. Join groups. It's the best.
Awesome. What would you say is the best SDR skill?
Ooh. Having ooh, having the drive and motivation to keep doing what you have to do. It could be tough at times, but you know what? Just be driven.
Awesome. This goes back probably to the first one, but what are the best SDR creators to follow, influencers?
Mike Manzi is really good. I know I follow Mike quite a bit. I'd probably say Mike Manzi, or even Alex Ramosi. He's really good at sales as well.
Mm,
Both those guys are probably my top 2 right now.
Nice. It's funny you mentioned Alex Hormozy. He's not your typical LinkedIn sales guy, tech guy who's kind of, teaching people. And for everybody listening, I mean, Alex is one of my favorite people on the internet as well. He
Absolutely.
built an empire.
Yes.
Um,
Him and his wife are very fun to
yeah,
listen to because
yeah,
they're both so different, but they're both so similar. It's great.
yeah. I'll leave their like YouTube profiles in the description so you guys can check them out. They're really awesome. Okay. What's your favorite SDR channel, like sales channel? Obviously, I mean, I assume which one is it, but like say like email, cold call, LinkedIn, like
I think it would be cold calling. Cold calling is always fun. Fun and hard and challenging. And I think that's why I like it the most because you have to interact with a human. That's when they answer.
yeah,
But you got to interact with them, right? LinkedIn, you don't really interact. It's not really face to face. Emailing, it's like back and forth. But I think a fun, good cold call is always my favorite.
very cool. What is your favorite cold call opener?
My best I've been using recently is, hey, this is Adam. This is a cold call. I'm calling from Sense. Do you have a second? And most people love that because I'm being honest, blunt. Number two, I get a lot of chuckles because they're like, did this guy really just tell me he's cold calling me? So I usually keep it very blunt and honest. Voicemails, I kind of always refer back to the email, but most times that's usually it's like, hey, this is Adam. This is a cold call. Do you have a second to talk to me? Most people are like,
Nice,
absolutely. Yeah.
nice. What is your go-to call to action?
Ooh, call to action, it will be how we could make, for my platform, how we can make the recruiters more efficient and save them money. And
Nice.
most people really, really love that, especially in the economy that we're going into, that we're trending. People are seeing a lot of value in it right now.
Oh, okay. Last one. What is your favorite tech sales acronym?
Acronym. For me, it would have to be SALs, just because those are the most important. So for me, it'll be SALs. I don't know. I never really thought about acronyms. So yeah, I'll probably have to be basic and just say SALs.
Yeah, I don't actually know what are SALs.
Oh, so it's sales accepted leads.
Okay. Sales accepted leads. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so that's my company, that's what we get paid on BDR. So that's like the main one.
Yeah, and good thing to mention actually. So different BDR teams are like comped differently, or rather, different acronyms they're used to explain what they're doing. And so some are sales accepted leads, obviously. Some are SQLs, MQLs, and all of that good stuff. So like sales qualified ops, there's a bunch of different acronyms there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. So before we part our ways, like, is there anything else you would say in addition to what we covered in the past, like almost an hour?
Um, no, I think we covered it all. I just want people, especially if you're getting into sales and you're listening to this podcast, there's so much good knowledge from Stefan and everyone that's been on here. Everyone has been through the same struggles I've been through. Just make sure that tech sales isn't the easiest job at the end of the day. It's very challenging. You got to be lively, you got to be motivated, but you also got to be humble because you'll be learning all the time. I learn to this day. I've been in sales for roughly 8 years, give or take. And there's always new things I love to learn about. And you can always get better. You're never the smartest one on the block, but you could be the best performer. But at the end of the day, just make sure that your growth mindset, you're going to willing to learn, and just stay open to people helping you out.
Well put. Amazing. I appreciate your time, Adam, and sharing your story. This has been a pleasure, and I can't wait to see you around on LinkedIn, and hopefully we'll get to meet each other face to face someday.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I love what you're doing. Obviously, your platform is great. I'm hoping and wishing the most success for you and everything that you're doing, because I know you're helping us BDRs and SDRs out. So really appreciate you.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Alrighty.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
day.
Thank you for tuning in to the SDR Hire podcast, the only podcast exclusively focused on SDRs, where successful salespeople share about their hiring stories and sales adventures straight from the trenches. If you found this useful, go ahead and share it with someone else you know is trying to break into tech or land their next SDR gig. You can find SDR Hire on all major podcast platforms as well as YouTube. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and catch you in the next episode.